All right. Today we're diving into something that is completely, and I mean completely, changing the game for designers. We're going to look at how AI, and specifically Claude, is making this leap from just being a simple assistant to becoming a full-blown creative co-pilot. Okay, so just take a look at this. What you're seeing is a dragon that's literally rendering text around itself in real time. This isn't a GIF, it's not pre-rendered. This comes from a library called Pretext. And, this kind of power, it was pretty much impossible for like the last 30 years. It's the perfect illustration of a massive shift in our creative tools, and that's the exact same kind of shift we're now seeing with AI.
So what if your creative tools worked with that kind of raw power? I mean, what if you could build really complex, interactive, even beautiful things just by describing them with words? Well, guess what? You can. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. So first things first, we've got to start thinking about Claude in a whole new way. This isn't just about asking some assistant to, write an email for you. No, no. This is about collaborating with a seriously powerful partner, one that can understand and actually execute complex design ideas in a matter of seconds.
So, we're going to go on a bit of a journey here. We'll start with the everyday problems that, let's be honest, slow us all down. But then, we're going to escalate to some capabilities that are, well, they're truly jaw-dropping. This is all about moving beyond just simple text generation and into genuine, hands-on co-creation. All right, let's start with the fundamentals. The very first step to really mastering this stuff is using Claude to just get rid of all those tedious time-sucking tasks that get in the way of your actual creative flow. I mean, we've all been there, right? Staring at pages and pages of user interview transcripts, or just that blank Figma file trying to nail the perfect microcopy. This is exactly where Claude starts to become indispensable. It just tackles all that frustrating groundwork for you. But here's the key, right? It's all about how you ask. You can't just throw a vague command at it. You've got to use a structured workflow. So first, you break down your big task into smaller, manageable steps. Then, and this is super important, you give it examples. You can even use simple tags to show it exactly what a good output looks like. And finally, you just review and refine what it gives you. It's really more of a methodical conversation than a one-off command. And what does that unlock? Well, you can just feed it all your usability test notes and get back a perfect summary of user pain points. Bam! It can generate incredibly detailed user personas. It can write all your UX microcopy. It can even run an accessibility audit based on standards like WCAG. Heck, it can even help you start turning your Figma designs into actual code. It's all the heavy lifting, just gone, automated.
Okay, so we've cleared away all that tedious work. Now let's get to the really, really mind-blowing part. This is where we stop asking Claude to just describe things, and we start asking it to build them. Let me introduce you to Claude artifacts. So what are artifacts? Well, imagine this. You have a senior developer sitting right next to you. And as you type out your idea for a new web app or maybe a diagram, they're building a live, fully functional version of it in a window right beside your chat. That is an artifact. It's not just a block of code, it's a living, breathing prototype you can actually interact with. Now check out the level of detail in this prompt. This is what's so cool. It's not a simple request. You're specifying features like drag and drop functionality, task timers, priority badges. You're even telling it which tech stack to use, React DND and Tailwind. These detailed instructions, they're basically the magic words. And the result of that prompt, well, it just builds it instantly. A fully interactive Kanban board just appears. It's right there, ready for you to use, to click around in, to test. That gap between a great idea and an interactive prototype, it's basically just vanished. Okay, so you might be wondering, how does this stack up against other tools? Well, this chart here breaks it down really well. Something like ChatGPT is great for creating custom GPTs for all sorts of workflows, but Claude artifacts, they're laser focused on high interactivity. They spit out live, stateful React apps. So for a UI UX designer who needs to do rapid prototyping for dashboards and interfaces, honestly, there's just no comparison. All right, so we've gone from wiping out tedious work to building fully interactive apps. Now, let's push this thing to its absolute limit. This is where we get to the highest level of mastery, where we can use Claude to create visuals that honestly look like they're ripped straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, we're talking about leaving static prototypes in the dust. We're moving into the world of fully animated, premium, agency quality websites. You know, the kind of project that would normally take a whole team of specialized developers weeks, if not months, to build.
I mean, just look at this prompt. You're not just asking for a website. You're literally art directing. You're specifying a dark neon theme, glitchy text for the hero, a scrolling particle field using Canvas, and even GSAP animated floating orbs. You're not describing a layout. You're describing an entire aesthetic, a whole experience.
And it doesn't stop there. What about a scroll-driven 3D product showcase that uses 3JS or cinematic film grain overlays? Come on, these are super high-end techniques that you see on award-winning websites, and now you can generate them from a text prompt. It is absolutely revolutionary. There's no other word for it.
Okay, so this is all amazing, right? But inspiration is one thing. The big question is, how do we make this practical? How do we actually get this power into our day-to-day professional workflow? How do we build that bridge between this insane generative power and our go-to tool, Figma? Well, there's actually a direct workflow for that. Using a tool called Claude Code, you can prompt Claude to build out your UI. You get a live preview right in your browser. And then, get this, with one simple command, send this to Figma, the entire interface just appears in your Figma file as fully editable vector layers with auto layout and everything preserved. It's a real two-way bridge between the world of code and the world of design. Wow, we have covered a ton of ground here. We've gone from automating tedious research all the way to building live interactive prototypes and even futuristic websites. And then we plugged it all directly into Figma. The entire creative landscape has fundamentally changed. So the big takeaway, the thing I really want you to leave with, is this mental shift. AI is not just an assistant you delegate boring tasks to anymore. It is an active, powerful, and honestly an indispensable creative partner. It's here to amplify your vision and just completely collapse the time it takes to bring that vision to life.
The tools are here right now. The power is totally accessible. You literally have a creative co-pilot sitting next to you ready to build whatever you can possibly imagine. So the only question left to ask is, where are you going to fly first?